Chris Jones is a guy that redshirted for us last year, and I'm excited about him. I guess the difference with these three guys that I mentioned first, and all three of them will be playing, and don't anticipate anybody redshirting. I don't see us redshirting anybody this year. Last couple of years, we've always had guys redshirting, and you know, be two guys redshirting. This year, we'll have all guys will be available to play, and most of our guys, a lot of our guys have redshirted in the past, so there is no redshirt opportunity. So I'm excited about that.
What's the status of Jamel's conditioning process? He said over the summer that was something.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you'll see him later, and if you saw him in the summer, you can tell me. Take a look at him. I think you'll be impressed. I think he's worked hard. I think he's worked harder than he's ever done. I think he's really a great teammate. I think he really wants to please. He wants to do things best for the team, and he wants to do the right things. And I think we've asked him to do something to get down to 225, and you know, when we weighed him on Monday, he was 225. So that's 18 pounds he's lost since he showed up, and I think it's made him a better player. He practiced really well the last couple of days. So really skilled, gives us that kind of undersized 4 that we've had success with. He can play the 3 too, but I think right now that's going to be his best position at this point. He can play both spots, but he gives us, similar to a Nasir, undersized, but more skills, can step out and shoot the ball a little bit better. And you know, we've had great success with guys like that. Sam Young was a guy that played some 4, played some 3. Similar to that, not quite the athlete, but he needs to have Sam's work ethic, and that'll go a long way.
Jimmy, each team each year is a different group of guys, different guys that you know, elevating into roles. What's the biggest challenges this group will have to figure out?
Well, I mean, you know, it's always defense for the newer guys. I think with us, obviously, we have a lot of experience on the perimeter, which is a good thing. On the same token, we don't have experience with the big guys, and so we're going to need some big guys that haven't played before. Talib has been a great leader for those guys, and I think, like I said, he's played 4 and 5 for us. He's probably going to play more 5 this year, in which, you know, I think that's going to be a good thing for us offensively. I think defensively as well, and we'll have to take care of business rebounding-wise, and so we always seem to do that. But that's the challenge. Those other guys, we've got to come up with a couple other guys ready to play. And I mentioned Mike. I mentioned Jamel. You know, Derek obviously fits in that, and hopefully Joseph, when we can get him out there full speed, will be the other guy. So, you know, it'll be a new group. It's somewhat older. You wouldn't call them all. There are new guys, but there are transfers. There's older guys. There's an older freshman. You know, you know, you'd like to be experienced at all 5 spots, but we're not. We're experienced on the perimeter. We're experienced with Talib, and we're going to bring in some new guys. But you know, we started 2 freshmen last year. We won a lot of games. We finished the top 4 in our conference, best conference in the country. So you know, we did some things with 2 freshmen. We're going to play freshmen again this year.
Can you give us some more specifics on Joe, where he is physically, and do you expect help from him at some point?
Well, we hope. I mean, that was our hope, and that's our expectation, and that's our belief. But he has not done the contact. We're obviously being very patient with it and taking our time with it, and there has been dramatic improvement. And obviously, he was a very good player. Is probably the best. You know, most people down in that league would say he was the best freshman JC guy in the country at that point. Obviously, didn't play last year, and he's got 3 years of eligibility. And we knew what we were getting ourselves into. We were aware of that, but he's worked hard. The improvement has been there, and he obviously brings great size. Has put up numbers before in a very good league, playing against good people, and you know, we'll see where he's at. But he's moved up. It's the progress has been good. It's been steady, and we felt better each week about where he's at. So that's really much what we can say. But obviously, we won't know until he gets out there, and there'll be some ups and downs too with it as well, as with any new guy.
With Mike Adams leaving and Joe coming in, you kind of took that spot as the big guy. Do they play similar, or do you expect them to play?
No, I think Mike is.
we talk about Mike Young and Jamel, I think they both have really good skills for big guys that we haven't had quite in the last couple of years, really to shoot the ball specifically. So I think that's something that's gonna, again, help our offense in some ways. I mean, we've had that before, and whenever you have a big that can shoot the ball, stretch the defense a little bit, it does make everything work a lot better offensively. And we were very good offensively last year, but there were some things we can do better, and we're trying to, I think they bring some things to the table. So those guys, and then, you know, Talib, I think, is really going to be a factor. You know, he played when Steve was out the one game against Villanova, and then he had some injuries where some games where he wasn't available on a 100% full-time basis. The Villanova game, he goes for 14 and 19 when he played the 5. You know, so I anticipate him putting up good numbers for us at that position. He's done it before, and in short-term situations, I anticipate him doing it this year as well, over the course of the year.
Jamie, what do you see, what does Duran need to do to make that next step? For, you know, obviously showed flashes last year, and I'm sure he's going to have a larger role, I would imagine, this year.
I think, I mean, he's working hard. I guess as with any freshman to sophomore, you just hope he's more consistent. But, you know, there's going to be times where he makes shots, and times when he doesn't make shots. He's got to rebound, he's got to defend. That's got to be a constant. That's got to be there every single night out. It's got to be there in practice. He's got to stay healthy. You know, I was in the game last year as we were getting ready to, the game, I was like, we're going to Duran. Duran's the guy I want to play. Obviously, rotation with those perimeter guys. We had different guys for different situations. I said, we're going with Duran. And that was the game he couldn't go. He was sick. So it came right before game time. He couldn't go. So, you know, being healthy is big. Being healthy is big. And he's had some things that have kept him out of practice, out of games. And so being out there every day really does matter. I think that's important to him.
Would you like to see him evolve? I mean, obviously he can shoot, but would you, there were times last year when it looked like he could get to the rim when he wanted to. Is that something that he needs to do more?
Well, I wouldn't say when he wanted to. The other 5 guys on defense are having something to do with it. But he's gotten better putting on the floor, like you said, and there are some times his moves are somewhat predictable at times, and I think he's added some counters, some reads. It's all about reading the defense, having patience. I think he showed more of that as the year went on, but I like his ability to put it on the floor. It's not, you know, it's not Brad Wanamaker yet, but I mean he can put it down, and he plays with a lot of energy. He's going to be a big factor for us. There's no question about it, and he's going to have some games where he scores some points. He's going to have some games where he doesn't shoot as well as with any shooter. So the thing is, like I said, he's got to rebound, he's got to defend for us, and he will drive it, he will get to the basket. I think he's passing it better after driving it too. He's getting other guys' shots is an important thing for him too as well. So it can't be, he may be able to get by the first guy, or we may create some space for him to drive, but if somebody's rotating, somebody's helping, he's got to make a good decision, and that's something I think he's improved at. So he brings great energy. He's fun to have in practice. I like where he's at. He's a sophomore. He's going to be a good player, and he was a factor for us last year. He's going to be a bigger factor for us this year.
Jamie, you lost your leading scorer and your floor leader at Trayvon.
Yeah.
Who are you asking to step into those roles? And does it have to be the same, like one person, or are you looking for multiple players?
No, I don't think we'll have a guy lead us in he led us in scoring and assists. We ran all of our plays pretty much for him on the perimeter, occasionally Lamar as well, and then obviously inside to Steve. Those were our looks. That's what we looked for. I don't see that. I don't see us running as many for as we ran for Trey as they come up. I think we have other guys come on ball screens. I think we have 2 guys, and James and Josh are going to be able to create shots for other guys. I think Lamar obviously is going to be a little bit more of a factor. We'll run more stuff for him, and I think we're going to get more transition stuff. I think the lead. You know, oftentimes, you know, everybody talks about the guard that runs, the guard that pushes it, this or that. It's oftentimes comes down to your bigs, how fast they can run it. And we're going to have Talib is going to be as fast as any big guy that we play against. And so I think that's going to lead to a lot more transition as well. I think that's going to be key. And, you know, we'll do what we do. I mean, we'll, you know, offensive rebound. We'll be, again, the best in the country. And that's our goal, to lead best offensive rebounding team in the country. And that's, you know, that's the same possession and when you keep it statistically, but it's another attempt at the basket. And that's why we're always, that's a big stat for us and why we're always up there for offensive efficiency, points per possession. That offensive rebound is still that same possession. And that's still something that we're going to continue to emphasize, and Talib will be good at that, and our guards will rebound too, I think, on the offensive end.
Jamie, when you say we'll do what we do, how do you envision the way that you guys play meshing with I mean, you're in a new league with new teams, and they play, it's a little bit different style than what you've been playing the last 30 years.
Yeah, you know, we've looked at it, and you know, I know the stats sometimes get in the way of, you know, what people want to think, but I mean, if you look at possessions and how, again, it depends how you keep them. If you count offensive rebounds, same possession. If you don't count it as the same possession, but a new possession, each stat is different. Each how they count them. However you want to count something, you can probably figure out numbers-wise what you want it to add up to. But if you look at possessions, if you look at pace of the game, and when you look and count offensive rebounds as the same possession, the numbers are the same in each league. And I know it may come as shock to people, and it's not what they want to believe, but it is. North Carolina pace a little higher pace over the years. They've shown that last year especially. But I think you'll see a lot of the same. I think you see a lot of teams. Again, when you start going into the thing about our conference over the years, having so many teams, you saw so many styles. That's what's going to happen to the ACC now. Now they have 15, 16 teams. Yeah, it was easy to, maybe a little easier to generalize when you had 8 teams in the conference and say they played this way. But now when you're going to 16 teams, I think the great strength of our conference was we got to play. We saw everything. We saw 2-3 zones. We saw matchup zones. We saw man-to-man. We saw pressing in our conference. I think that's something you'll see. And now in the ACC, we're going to see all kinds of styles. And you got a lot of new coaches, too, in the conference. I mean, that's something that was really in the meetings I've gone to the last 2 years. I didn't realize it until I got there, and I saw each coach, and I'm sitting there with them and recognize that these are all, except for the obvious, there was pretty much 12 programs, 11 programs with pretty much relatively new coaches. And so that'll have an impact on style of play as well. New coaches.
Lamar's coming off a year in which he started out really hot offensively, then kind of tapered off a little bit at the end. What's sort of the next step in his evolution as he enters his last year?
I think being healthy, being physically, being consistently stronger, in better shape, and healthy. I think those are the most important. He's got a great feel for the game, a great head for the game. He's a great passer. He shoots it well. He rebounds. He does a lot of things. And I think his staying healthy is a big thing, and being in the best shape he can be in, which I think he's getting to that point.
Going back to the ACC, as you get closer to games, I know you told me you feel like you've been in the ACC, 6 months ago, but as you get closer to games and actually playing and making the transformation final, you're getting more and more excited about it, or are you still?
I think it's here now. I think probably maybe going down and watching the football game, and going to Duke and playing there and watching the game with our guys. I think that maybe, realizing we're playing, here's a conference game, we're playing different people. I think it's starting to resonate now. Florida State coming in, and so yeah, I think volleyball's got Georgia Tech this weekend. They've got Clemson, Georgia Tech. They're opening up again. So yeah, I think now it's real. I mean, sometimes we're like kids. We can't see, 6 months ahead. We wait until it gets there type thing. But there's a lot of preparation that goes on before that time, and so that's what we're focused on. But it's everything. I remember when the Big East became that 16-team thing that everybody thought wasn't going to work. Well, it worked really well for 10 years, and we were in the best conference in the country. And you know what? Now that this thing's upon us here, we're in the best possible place. We're in a great conference, and every sport in our athletic department is excited about it. And yeah, the basketball conference is the best in the country, and that's why they put it all together. I think if you talk to them, they wanted to have the best basketball conference in the country, and that's why they made the moves that they did. And we're happy to be a part of it. And going from the best to the best is a good thing to do.
When you look at your schedule, especially getting closer to conference play, what are the challenges that this season schedule presents that aren't necessarily more challenging or less challenging, but maybe are just different than the ones supposed to be last year?
Well, I mean, you don't know how teams are gonna be and health and, I mean, there's so many things that factor in and, you deal with tournaments, so you don't know who you're gonna play. I mean, last year, who we played was not what we expected to play and tournament situations, so, it's, I think we've got rivalry games, we've got historic games, we've got that covered, we've got teams from, the West. No, we're not gonna make West Coast swings all of a sudden. Now I gotta ask that question. I don't even know how it worked out that we got teams from Loyola and we just wanted to play some different teams. Fresno. We tried to play the best teams from these conferences, the games that we can control. I mean, I know it's everybody sits there and looks at the different scheduling and this and that, and they analyze it and talk about you get the best tournaments we can. That's what the best tournaments that are available. That are out there. We're in Bowie, we're in Legends, we're in NIT, we're in Coaches Weekend. Those are the best tournaments in the country, and so we're part of those. You get the Big Ten game, can't control that. You play who they give you, and that's where it was with the SEC challenge as well. You got to play home games. You got to play a certain amount. You get the best teams you can to come in. That's what you do. So I think we've got teams that are going to win their leagues. I think we've got teams that will play different styles. I think teams that will present the rivalries that we want to play against, the important games whenever we can. So I mean that's the good things available. We got the exhibition games that we always try to play a local team. The best local team, we try to find the team that's picked to win the league around here, the best local team around here, and then we'll go play somebody that we have some connection with or something, and Coach Carlson's at UC San Diego. So, again, I'll say every year you have to play division, and I can't play Division I's in the exhibition, so that's when I get asked. Next week I'll get asked why we're playing Slippery Rock.
Coach, Jamie, you always play.
You guys all know Paul Zeiss?
You always have played a lot of players. It sounds like you're going to have a rotation that's deep again, 9, 10, maybe deep, maybe 11, or what? I mean, is that what you're thinking?
Got 11 guys available. Don't anticipate anybody redshirting. We'll see how it occurs. I think the 6 guys on the perimeter, we'll see how that plays out, but I think they have all earned at this point. They got to stay healthy. Injuries always factor in, but I like those 6 guys. I think the big guys is a question, but I think we have the ability to play big if we have all of our big guys available, and we can play Mike as a big 4. He's 6'9", 6'8", 235, 240. I mean, we'll be as big as anybody. Every year they'll say, why we need a big guy. Well, we're always the biggest team in the league, pretty much. I don't know that we'll be the biggest at the 5 spot this year. We'll have big wings in Lamar. We'll have big point guard with James. So we'll be big. And we won't have a 7-footer. We'll have a 6'11" guy instead. Or Steve was 6'11", 6'10" and 3/4. But we're going to have good size. I think we'll run a little better, and I think we'll be a little bit more skilled on the 4. So I think we've got a good group, and I think we got a versatile group. I think we'll play 11 guys, but again, hopefully everybody's healthy.
Jamie, you had last year 2 freshman starters for the first time in 13 years in the same lineup. You have 3 freshmen that you seem pretty high on. Could you see any of these guys cracking the starting lineup? And how soon or how late in the preseason did you make that decision to start both James and Steven? And is there a timeline for these 3?
Last year, I think Steve, we kind of recognized he was going to start pretty much early. James, I don't think that was what we anticipated. I didn't think he was good, but he just kept doing the things right. He was our best defender, and you don't count on a freshman being the best defender. So he was our best perimeter defender. So we felt we needed him out there from the start to guard a guy. This year, I think someone's gonna start, I think a freshman's gonna start. I think just, as I look at it now, I mean, I think, in the front, somebody new is gonna start in the front line, I give you that, they can figure it out, but, we have new guys in the front line, and that's how it is. And, that's what happens when you have a guy go, leave after his freshman year, I mean, there's generally gonna be bringing in somebody new, and that's what happens.
Is the two guard your most unstable position? Is that a committee approach perhaps?
I wouldn't use the word unstable, that sounds so
Well, I mean,
negative.
unsettled.
What was the other word used?
Unsettled.
Unsettled. I'm encouraged by it. I think that was our deficiency last year. I thought at the two, we didn't get what we needed out of that spot. That it could have kept, we could have won the league instead of finishing in the top four. I mean, that's what I thought, and maybe it was my fault, but I feel like we had young perimeter guys last year. Now we're looking at having an experienced group. So that year is, it's funny, you go from young to old real quick. And here we seem to go from young to old from November to December is what usually happens here. So that's what's often written. But I think we're going to be pretty good at that spot. I do. I feel Cameron. I feel Chris, Lamar, Duran. I feel good about that spot. And we're really focusing on shooting the ball, shot selection. We're charting every shot in practice, live or just shooting drills on their own. They're shooting the ball well, and yeah, it gets harder with the defense and the year wears on and your body's banged up. But I think I think our perimeter is going to be good. And so I'm not going to say unsettled. I'm going to say a lot of good possibilities. A lot of good possibilities. I'm excited about it. I went into last year with question marks.